We have one member absent. We need to adjust the agenda. Mr. Lansing is not going to be here. And also look like Mr. Johnson is not going to be here. Somebody approve the agenda with deleting those two things, please. Make a motion to it. I would appreciate it.
I would make a motion to approve the agenda, removing item 9A, and I assume removing item 6B.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes unanimously. Chair votes aye. Okay, we need to look at the regular meeting corrections for March the 7th and the regular meetings for April the 7th. Anybody have any of that on those minutes?
I move approval of March 7, 2022 regular meeting minutes with corrections noted.
Second.
We moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carries unanimously. Chair votes aye also. April 7th meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
It's been moved in second to accept the minutes as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Has anyone signed up for our public comment?
Yes, sir.
No one has signed up for the public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to comment that didn't sign up? Public comment is open. Public comment is closed. We have no public hearings that I'm aware of. So that's, it's of the agenda. So next we get to Ms. Newman, who's going to teach us how to get out of frustration on what we just got frustrated about.
Give me just a minute to get back signed in. All righty. So first off, Mr. Chairman, it's nice to see you all, but I prefer to be on the other side of this lectern, but glad to be able to try to help. So when you first come in to Civic Plus, you're going to get your sign in. And so that would be your email and then the password that you all are setting. And once you're there, the view that I'm showing you now on the screens as well as on your screen in front of you that's what you'll see. So what we have here, you may see more than one of these. And that would be for multiple meetings. So each meeting has its own card, we call this. Also, if you note at the bottom, there are 4 tabs. You have agendas, minutes, notes, and media. So agendas, if we were to click on that, it's not going to take it. If you would click on the card, I apologize.
Let's let everybody catch up.
Okay, where are we?
Now, why are you not?
I have no idea. So
So
where do I go from here?
let's do the, oh, it's not touch screen.
Maybe.
After the slash,
Yeah.
put board view. So if everybody would put orangecova.civicclerk.com/board view.
4.
That's good. You're on it. Yeah, you're good. So what I would suggest, oh, you're
Ah,
not. that's
got it.
not
That's
you.
not my
Okay.
computer.
It's not you.
No.
Okay, so you sign in there. It's your Hotmail address for right now, because we didn't have.
And you, which email?
You're hot.
Got it. All right.
All right, I'm in.
All right. So
Want me
here-
to-
now here's the frustrating part.
I got kicked out. Can you go to? Just go open the window.
So let's sign out.
Just sign up.
Now, let's go to your navigate that here and type
Put in what?
Um,
Okay, so put in
COVA.
Orange,
Orange, orange COVA.
COVA. Civic clerk.
Oh, we want to go back.
Orange COVA.
COVA.
Civic, keep going back.
COVA. Civic clerk.
.com/
Dot.
Oh,
and now /board BOARD view, not BORED. Yeah, there you go.
spell view right would be all right, won't we?
Clerk.
And now you should, after you hit the W,
Oh.
you should be good to go.
Back to, sorry.
Now hit go.
That's /board view.
That's right. Now
Board
password,
view.
you should be board.
View, board view.
There's something wrong. There must be something spelled, because this happened to me today. Civic clerk / oh, .com after clerk. That's what's missing.
So
Clerk.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. I was in.
Tell you one thing, there's a few words of unkindness, this phone that'll do miracles.
Write that down somewhere.
What we would suggest is go ahead and bookmark that. Put your star if you're using Chrome, and we're told this works best in Chrome. That's what-
I got growth.
Well, all I got is platinum, so it's nothing I can do.
I'm in.
Okay.
all right.
All righty.
So,
Now what do you want us to do?
okay, they're all.
Okay.
Can you take them? So, yeah, I think they're, everybody's on the same page.
So we're all on this page.
Yes.
Okay. So I was showing earlier where what we call these little boxes are called cards. So each meeting will have a different card. So what you can do is you come in and just click on the card and it automatically pulls up the agenda. So now there are two ways of looking at the agenda. You can look at it here or you can look at it on PDF. Also in this view, if you wanted, you could look at the packet in PDF. But what we wanted you all to see was what your view is going to look like and what your capabilities are. So we start at the top and call to order. This is all the format of our meeting. And then we get into the different, what we call items. So I'm going to go down a little bit further and we're going to click on this one. So you can click on it there. And what you've done is you've pulled up a screen where you're going to be able to access the PDF. And you can also make notes here. So I made one, I'll just add that again. And we'll look at that later.
And so usually, even though today is not correct, but we will have 2 attachments for each agenda item. One will be our memo to you, and the other will be the supporting documents. So today, we don't have an item that has both of those items, but you always have 2 attachments in this view.
So if we scroll,
So just to get into this, I could get into this with my password anywhere without that link that you gave. Okay, that's what I was, okay.
all right, so to get into the attachment itself, You can click on it, and this is the memo that was included in the agenda packet that was sent to you all via email. Now, what's cool is once you get in here, if you look at the blue bar across the top, and I'm trying to show you all along with me so you can look on both screens. See annotate. Now in annotation, this is when you can actually make changes to this document that are only yours. You're the only one that will be able to see them. And I have given you all some little cheat sheets, if you will. I'm starting on the one that's titled Navigate Through an Agenda. And then the second one is all about annotation. I want to show you just a couple things, but every annotation capability is listed in this cheat sheet. So for instance, if you wanted to do a text, you create a box and then you can,
And where would that text go?
that would stay on this
Stay there.
document, but only on your document. Nobody else can see that.
So I couldn't text Brian and with this while it's up and say, hey, Brian, it's 8 minutes. Can we close it?
No, there's not a chat function.
You're lucky.
So
You know
again,
It's gonna be a heartbreak.
Put in for the
so just another functionality, you can click on the little highlight here and you could highlight a portion of the document.
Wow, great.
Is this actually having, this is going to be cloud-based, or does it stay with the
it's all
machine
cloud.
itself? So it's
All
going to
the
be in the
data.
cloud. If you don't open the cloud, it's not going to stay on this.
No, it does not, but it will stay in the cloud associated with your profile for as long as you're on the board. So 2 years from now, you can go back and see what your notes were on that case.
Couple other things that you can do. You could load in different attachments into this. You can do, they say a comment panel, and I'm not sure about this. I think I might want Jason or Brian, if you are really great at this, to play around and maybe tell us what that comment icon is about. If we were to go back,
I am noticing that on tablets, it's showing it's a different screen than
I
it
don't
is
have the comment. or
comments.
the- I don't have that
Yeah,
icon on
I
mine.
don't have it on mine either, unless and I mean, it may be hiding somewhere.
and that's under the annotations.
I have the print, I have the download.
I see
have
it
the
there.
Save and exit.
Yeah, but I don't see the
And I
comment.
have
I
the
think
next
tablets sometimes do that. where
Did you
they'll-
hit annotate, Brian?
Annotate on the top blue.
Well, there it is.
All right, he's got it.
Now,
Okay.
when you hit annotate, it comes up.
See, I don't.
Right.
So comments panel, okay, gotcha.
It's right there.
I got it now.
Okay.
Let's go to-
So I could go in and write that and, yeah.
Well, I have found that.
Oh, there it is. Look,
Oh,
it was a
yeah, I
drop
see
down.
it. Yeah, I
was
see it.
definitely- You're right.
With the drop down.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So within, back on to the PDF. So you can see where we added the notes here. I'll add this again. And now,
And everything saves in real time. There's no save.
right, they're
Save
saved.
your stuff. It will save.
So we go across the bottom to the notes. And it's going to pull up the card again. And then you'll see my notes over on the side. So again, you're only going to be able to view your own notes. Nobody else can see these notes. So I see this as a great thing that you don't have to have all the papers.
Mhm.
You can make your notes before you even get to the meeting, or you can make the notes during the meeting. Just for you all to be consistent with the handle. And if you have any questions, please, when you get home and start playing around with this, give us a call. And we will do the best that we can to get you through that. So again, it was 3 little cheat sheets that I gave you. The first one was navigating through an agenda board portal. And basically that's what we just did. We got into it, we chose the agenda, and then we scrolled through the different sections. It shows how to click on the item so that you can pull up the PDF. And then it shows again on the bottom where you can make notes. Any questions about that so far? On the second, just to look over that again, on the second attachment, this annotations. So that just goes back through, again, you click on the left 3 buttons next to each item, and that will bring you to attachments. Let me show you how that works again. I apologize, I didn't do it from that view. So if you look over here on the right, and you click on that, that gives you the same thing basically you can do down at the bottom, but or by clicking on the link itself. We can just take.
Is it recording the speakers as they speak and putting that into a Word format also?
No, sir, that's going to be on video.
It will be on video.
So we don't have, at the bottom right in the media, that would be for you to look at, let's say that this was a prior meeting and you wanted to review your notes from the prior meeting. You can go to the media button to be able to see the video and then pull up the notes with it. The review button. It's basically the same thing. Just brings that back up. Do you all feel like once you get home, you can play around in it and figure out how you might want to use it personally?
Yeah, this is great.
Mr. Yancey, how are you?
Much better than that 3-ring binder we had the last time. So
Yes, yes.
And of course, if you find this too complicated, you can always do, you can always go to our webpage. Tracy's taking you there now, just like the public does through agendas and minutes. You can download the packet.
So this is what it shows. So
okay.
for tonight, you can either click on the link or you can click to download and bring up either the agenda or the packet. Mhm. So here's the full packet.
So if you don't value the annotations of other historical archival issues, you can always just go straight to it.
Right.
So
Again, you can also get in there by just clicking on the link. Now, this is a little bit of a different view, but pretty much the same program in that, well, look, you can print. You can go in and just click that one item that you want to see again and pull that item up. So attachments we call items under the sections, which are the portions of the agenda. Chairman Brooks, how are you? Any questions?
I have some like general questions. So I heard multiple times, no one else can see your notes. Is that technically true? Is there like a super user that can see everyone's accounts?
Certainly.
And
That's a
then,
great question.
and then the second question I have, do all of the notes become part of the public record?
Yes.
So anything we put in here becomes part of the public record?
Absolutely.
It
Okay.
could be foyable.
And then I have a third question. You can upload and attach your own files to like an agenda. You feel like if you've got some document.
There was a place where it looked like you could do that. I have not tried that yet.
So the question I have there, let's say that I uploaded the wrong document. Let's say I uploaded like a bank account information. Like, can I delete that document or is my bank account information now part of the public record?
I bet it's gone when it's gone. Once it's.
Nothing's actually gone. on the
That's what,
internet.
no, I mean, it's gone.
So if we were to be here,
Yeah, to them. That's what I'm saying.
Where did you see attachment? I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
okay, under annotate,
What is that folder, right? What is that?
yep, load attachment.
Once it hits them, whether you delete it or not,
Yeah.
somebody's gonna be able to see it eventually. I mean, there's no software anywhere that someone can't see.
Yeah, so you don't have to answer, I mean, you may not have these answers, but those are the sort of questions I have.
I have a couple of things to say about that. One, when we say public record, it's not put in your minutes. It's not forced into any record of the public. However,
FOIA.
if somebody said, I want to see his notes in Civic Plus,
Right.
yes, that would be accessible.
Unless, unless there's an exception.
Right.
For whatever reason under law.
Yes.
So if they're, yeah, if it's otherwise confidential, then they wouldn't get to see it to be redacted, but they could see everything else.
Yes, sir.
If I write a note on a piece of paper, is that public? Is that foiable?
Mhm.
Do I have to retain those? Any written notes?
Supposed to.
Supposed to. When Walmart debacle happened, I think I was the only one on the commission then, but they wanted, and they explicitly said when they forwarded it, they wanted our notes, annotations, they went down, it was just pretty much if you made a mark, they wanted it. If you divided the page in half with pros and cons, they wanted to see that. So you, I mean, you virtually,
Walker has tuned in and said, if you upload a document, you can remove that document from the site.
But is it actually removed is my question.
I don't,
That's fine.
I think you have to ask Jeff Bezos or somebody like that.
Jeff does Amazon.
He has all the web.
I guess one of my questions
He's got
being, I
the
see
cloud.
Ted has walked back in the room. What was the purpose of not letting us have these computers functional? These monitors functional?
Well, that's a great question, Mr. Chairman. I wasn't involved in that original decision, but I have seen this type of arrangement before where essentially it's just viewed as their monitors
Right.
to see what's up on the screens. And there are plugs and such to allow you to plug in an active device. But the monitors on the dais are really just to show you what's
Right.
projected out on the screen.
Yeah. Just wondering why they didn't make these active, because it would be so much more, I think, user friendly. You got to stack up yours, you know, that's just curious if that was some real reason. Like for the day, we could have clicked and gone instead of, you know, and it doesn't really, I'm just curious. Thank you. I was just out of, this appears to be something that we would just ask, and I think I speak for all the commissioners, that you would be patient with us as we learn how to do this. And just be mindful that if you say, well, it's right in your notes in there, that it just may not be that easy for everybody. It's just give us, it's a learning curve. It's a necessity learning curve, but it's a learning curve. And I'm slowly getting away from paper, Tracy, slowly. Only because the storage room is full.
So in the future, will we not have this packet? Like it'll be here. You did it this time, I'm assuming, because we would have had an issue. You'd want to make sure we had a duplicate for this meeting, but when we come in next time, I log in, I can have the agenda, I can go through anything, I can make notes, just like you said, but that's how we're going to operate.
Yes.
Perfect.
And let's talk about next steps.
Okay.
So we do have authorization to move forward with devices. If any of you would like a device, they're going to be Chromebooks. We also need to make sure everyone's Orange County, we need to move you to that environment, because when we share our documents online with you, they are accessing our SharePoint site and you have credential to get in there. So we're going to have to move you into that environment. What we would like to do, and I think we're going to wait until the Chromebooks arrive.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then you're going to have to physically be in this building, or preferably this building, with IT to bring that machine up and to get your Orange County VA .gov email address credentials into our Active Directory and all that. It's a one-time setup. Once you do that, you can have access anywhere you are, but your first access, we're going to need to preferably be in this building to do. So let me work on getting the Chromebooks. Once they come in, we will ask you, we'll get a week set aside that come by anytime during this week, get your device and get set up. So
Could we do it just a little bit different? Well, if it's a planning commission meeting, we do it from 4 and 6.
well, we talked about that and it might be possible.
Just
What
we
we
did it between 4 and 6.
What
and
we
that
don't
would
want to do is kill the credential you're currently using and you not have access for several weeks. Of course, the worst case scenario is you just go to the public portal and go in through there. But yes, we can offer both
So
options.
is your credential only going to work from that Chromebook?
No, but the credential has to be set up when you're physically on this network.
So if I go home,
Mhm.
because I don't personally want to work on a Chrome
Mhm.
at home, but I'll be able to log in. at
Oh,
home
yes, absolutely.
and access
Absolutely.
this,
Any machine.
and then I'll come back, I'll be here with my Chrome
Yes.
or whatever, and yeah, okay.
Yep.
Because I have
But
I have a command center.
Yeah.
I understand,
Yeah, you'll be able to use it.
Benefit,
Not working
I'm
on
with
that.
you, I'm with you. But the benefit is, Jason, maybe we just
Well, I'm not.
chase this rabbit a
I'm not
little bit.
arguing the
No,
benefit.
no, it's not about argument. It's benefit if you do everything Chrome, when they FOIA you and you make notes, you hand them your Chromebook, and you don't have to do anything else. If you do it with some other type of script and they FOIA it, you gotta provide that script.
Not if you're using this, because it'll be
From here
device
on out.
agnostic.
Yeah.
So
It'll all be in the servers in the cloud.
Yeah, I don't understand the credential on the Chrome.
It's they cannot set up in their Active Directory here at Orange County a new account without you physically being connected to this domain.
So it doesn't have to be Chrome.
No, no,
It
I
could be
would-
any
that's right,
laptop or
correct.
whatever. It could be your phone, whatever.
Absolutely.
you're doing.
Absolutely.
it's a security for them to say, that keeps somebody off site from something.
That's correct.
That's what it does. So it says, okay, anybody did it had to do it.
Mhm.
All right, anything else you have for us?
Not for me, no. Any other
All
questions?
right, any questions? Thank you so much. We appreciate it. You need a second career, you can be a lecturer to a planning commission. All right, Mr. Smitherman, you are next with your update and suggested revisions to the zoning. and
STA
subdivision.
2201, is that what it was? STA 22. Yeah.
So let me tell you a little bit about what has happened since you recommended approval of the zoning text amendment subdivision, was it subdivision or zoning? Subdivision text amendment related to private roads. You made a few tweaks about third-party inspection. It went forward as a positive recommendation to the Board of Supervisors.
Is it passed yet? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, this is what this is all about.
Yeah.
So the Board of Supervisors deliberated and really in some ways got caught on the right way to do the third-party inspection. I think they completely agree that that needs to be done and the road needs to be certified as constructed appropriately. However, during our deliberations on the staff level, we realized there was a hole in there was an unintended consequence and a poorly defined word that had huge consequence on the administration of the amendment. The word is served. It is a word that has meaning that turns our private road or the Board of Supervisors' intentions around private roads into something they may not meant to do. So they asked us, I guess it was last Tuesday, they said they would like to have a work session on this matter, particularly to solve the problem that we identified around the word served. Well, since then, and this has only been a week, there are many other issues that have unintended consequences that we have worked very hard on the staff level to identify in preparation for Tuesday's work session next week. So tonight, what we want to do is twofold. One, we want to test drive what we are going to say to the Board of Supervisors next week. And two, we want to bring you up to speed on some of these issues that we've discovered since you last dealt with this issue. So tonight, Kira, Eric, and I are going to walk through some of this stuff to bring you up to speed and as well identify the other issues that we will be bringing forward to the Board of Supervisors Tuesday afternoon. So all of this occurred, all these unintended consequences seem to have originated around a change in private streets in 2018 that the Board of Supervisors adopted. I don't know the background there, but I do know that that is kind of an inflection point that's brought us to today. Particularly two definitions that we want to cover with you tonight. There's probably a half dozen to 8 items we're going to bring the Board of Supervisors, and we will identify those to you tonight, but we're going to dig into 2 to show, and these are the 2 big ones. The first is the definition of served, and I'll let you read that, but it generally says that if you're touching the road, you're considered served. So we'll talk about that. The second is the definition of a driveway and how a driveway may or may not serve more than the number of lots it was intended to serve. So we have an issue around what is a driveway, and presently it is basically a private road serving up to 2 lots. So those are the 2 definitions that we are working on this evening or illustrating this evening that we've been working on. So this is about unintended consequences. It's also about perverse incentives, incentivizing people to do the wrong thing, which is what we've discovered we have in effect been doing with our citizens and applicants by administering the code over the last 4 years. We've provided some perverse incentives that have resulted in some poor planning practices on the ground. So those are some of the things we're going to be talking about. I'm going to turn it over to Kira, who's going to walk you through some of these.
Hello. As we have discussed and mentioned before, that there are unintended consequences, I'm going to go over what those unintended consequences are. Specifically, are multiple driveways along a state highway, and that can create hazardous traffic conditions, having multiple intervals of turning instead of the issuance of a private road, as well as applicants being forced onto an RMA, a road maintenance agreement for the private roads, which the county does require in the definition of served. If a property is touching the private road, they have to join the RMA, even though that specific parcel may get access from a different route, whether it be a state highway or a separate private road. If the property is touching it, they have to join that RMA, even though they do not utilize the road or its services. As well as there have been the creation of driveways that circumnavigate trying to join that private road, whether it be for members of the private road do not wish for an additional person onto that private road, or the fact that the road might need to be increased to be a higher standard or even a public road. A lot of individuals do not wish to have to pay for the cost for the road to be accepted into VDOT standards, as well as it can increase based on the number of lots, the width and depth of gravel for private roads. This also increases the creation of multiple frontage lots based on where they're served. And when dealing with multiple frontage lots, it increases the setbacks because wherever the property touches the access points, that is considered frontage, and our setbacks can range from 35 feet to 85 feet for frontage. So it can very much limit the buildable area. If on a parcel it has technically 3 frontage lots, it has to be 80, possibly 85 feet from all 3 sides. So you're really narrowing the scope of buildable area. It also, with our definition of served, Currently, we're only allowed, the county allows for 10 lots to be on a private road. And based on our definition, lots that are only used as an access easement that do not actually utilize the private road are considered served. So that takes up, in a sense, one of the 10 available spots that a private road can have lots on. One of the lots that the road can have. It also confuses the building orientation for the setbacks, because technically a back door can be facing the fronted, one of the front. When you have multiple frontage areas, you're gonna have side or back like doors, and determining that based on access when there are multiple access points. I think an example will be helpful in understanding a lot of that. And in this specific example, I have the state highway as well as a private road, which has currently 6 lots on it, which it can have a 7th. And in this example, A right here would like to join the private road, and it would be the path of least resistance. But to follow that property line, because either 5 or 6 would be allowing the owner of A to join the private road, and assuming that everyone says that they're willing to sign a new private road maintenance agreement. Right now, with our definition of served, this driveway would service 5, 6, as well as A. And a driveway cannot service 3 lots, it can only service 2. So this is also having the unintended consequence of people moving their driveway as little as a foot off the property line.
Is that a reality or is that a potential?
How much data?
Yes, we go through this. This is something that happens weekly that we deal with.
So how do other counties fix this? How do we get, I mean,
They don't allow private roads.
I'm just, it's, this is,
We're hoping by rewording our definition of served to, if in that document, it's worded where it's not based on just where it touches, but who in that, say, easement is allowed to access it, that limits the people who have technical legal access. We're hoping that changes in our text will be able to help make it clearer, and that our intentions are.
so A is pretty much landlocked unless B or 6 or 5 allows it to do something.
Well, so because of right now that happening, people are circumnavigating the code, and instead of going onto the private road and it being so cumbersome of a process, they do an extremely long driveway, as marked here in green, through B to get to their property.
Which means they have another ingress, egress onto the state highway, which is a safety issue.
Correct.
Potentially.
As well as it's poor planning to have so many entrances and exits
Right.
off of a
So
state
what
route.
you're saying is no more pipe stems?
Not this.
Yeah, not necessarily. It would. The biggest issue is honestly with landlocked parcels, not necessarily pipe stems. And it's not super common that we deal with the creation of a pipe stem. Typically, a lot of these issues are with landlocked parcels and how they gain access.
So what we did and what the county did previous caused this, or this was already an action that was going in place, and this just exemplifies why we should change what's there. I mean, something the county did cause this to,
So based on the wording and the way that we have to interpret that legally has created these unforeseen consequences.
The short answer is yes, we created it through our code. We
Yes.
provided, these folks that design these things are expert, they're more expert at us in some ways, at administering our code. We find the green line example extremely common, even though people want to do that short red line driveway, because of the way our code is written, we have to say no. Even though we all agree that that is the best way to solve this problem. There's the least number of people involved, the least construction costs, safer, everything, but in our current code, it can't.
May I
And-
say, I mean, it's preferable assuming the roads are built to a standard.
As
Right,
well
so-
as maintained. That is the
Yeah, I mean,
largest
so
issue.
You have this like conflict going on. Partly because we have private roads and we don't really want to implement standards and everyone gets upset and, so we're just trying to deal with it. Someday taxpayers will pay for it all, but, maybe 30 years from now. But
Well, that is also one of the financial incumbents that the applicants do not wish to move forward a lot of times with the private roads and increasing the number of lots.
Right.
Because they do not wish to be accepted into VDOT, it has to happen at the personal property owner's expense and then to be then accepted.
So the critical issue here is when it can be a private road,
Mhm.
the best alternative, because it falls within 7 lots, is to do the red line. But you're saying we can't do that under the current wording of the code.
Mhm.
And so the change in the code still maintains a private road because we say we can go up to 7 lots. So we're not changing that. We're not now saying that we could have 21 lots and have a private road. We're simply saying that this is the best planning approach. In order to enact that planning approach, we need to change the language that would facilitate that.
Okay, let me take that one step further. Let's just say A and B, the topography on those lots make it unreasonable. And we have the inability to put in an entrance. Are we saying that red line can never happen?
Are you saying, just so I understand your question, that the topography inhibits the red line or the green line?
No, I'm saying on lots A and B,
Uh-huh.
if the topography of those 2 lots are impossible to reasonably develop a entrance, what happens?
In our current code, or in our proposed.
In your proposal?
There is an exception for topography. I can't remember what it is for. Top of my
I do not know.
head. No. There's you can see it for topography.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because
So
we've
would
got
not
that
change.
issue in Orange in several
Yeah,
places.
that would not change. That would not change. You could still see the variance for.
May I ask, so what you're saying is the current definition of served, right?
Mhm.
If they do the red line, you have to count A and B.
No, you have to count.
5, 6.
5, 6, and A.
But they're already on it. You count them twice?
Yes, because it's been considered served more than once.
Well, that's silly.
That's why we're, that's why.
That is correct.
And can you go back to the served
Wait a minute,
definition?
wait a minute,
please?
whoa, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. Slow down, slow down.
I don't, why would you count them
Yeah, that's-
twice? I don't
So
understand
let's
that.
stay right there.
Technically, they're like lot 6 is serviced on 3 sides. By the highway, the private road, as well as the proposed driveway. Lot 6 is serviced on 3 sides, and that would make it have to have all the front setbacks on all 3 sides. Now, if the state highway is,
Well,
I'm not
I'd have to go back. and
I'm not
see.
following you. So,
As a matter of
just
principle,
hold on a second, Dave. Hold on a second. Let me get caught up here. Let me get caught up. Y'all do it every day. Y'all just gave it to me 15 minutes ago. Hold on. Let me catch you. So the first thing I heard was that there was a safety issue. It seems to me that 1, 6, and B could come out on the highway.
correct,
So that's 3. If you take it the way you've got a diagram, we've reduced it to 1. Reduce 1 because only now A and B come out on that one, on the green line, and then there's the road there. So, but what I don't know is the distance between that there. So if I've got half-acre lots, I'm just using an exaggeration, then it's a high, a very
Correct.
high hazard for, but if I got 50-acre lots with 25 of those acres, they're 25 acres apart. I don't have the same safety issues that I had before. So I don't have any numbers here to help me. That's the first issue I got. The second one I got, I'm gonna give them all to you so I can confuse you just like I am. So, so the second one I got is it doesn't seem why we're counting these twice when we're only serving them once.
because the code requires us to. The issue is not, is this right or not? As your zoning administrator, I'll tell you, it is. I mean, it just is. The code is written that way. We've probably spent 9 hours with Eric Lansing skinning this thing apart. And this is the problem in the code, that we're counting lot 6 as 3 frontages. That is the problem. And that is illustrative of why we are pitching this to you tonight, because
Well, show me in the code where it says we have to count it 3 times.
Well,
I will.
I gotta read that.
Can I-
okay, we will.
Can I make a comment? So part of this is, so I don't know what would make it more clear, but, and I get it now through a little bit of discussion, but the front end material before this wasn't enough for people who aren't working this every day to really understand. So I think,
Understood. And we apologize for that. This
No.
is all happening
May I-
in real time.
may I
We
s-
finished this at
Just let him finish. Dave.
5:45 tonight.
Just let him
David,
finish.
I'm
Just let
only-
him finish. We're not
I'm only-
complaining.
I'm
We're
only
trying to get some
commenting on
information.
that because you said there were 2 purposes for this.
Yeah.
Part of this was to preview what you need to do for the
Yes.
board. So that's something I'm telling you that I think there's something missing in the front end
thank you. Yes.
to get here. So it's not a complaint.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I understand now, but you maybe could have something in the front. I don't know what it would be that would cause us to not have to go through. So does the code say that every frontage, there's a different setback from every road it has frontage on?
so the frontage is also based on how wide, if the easement, say for like a highway is 50 feet, then it's 35 feet in the agricultural
I
zone.
see.
But if
Okay.
it's less than 50 feet, then it's 85 feet.
Right.
So it's based on the right of way.
And the width thereof.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I got it. So then when you have this new road here, this red one, you've now created another frontage and another setback. And you've already
Correct.
got the setback on the private road, and on the highway, you have some sort of VDOT setback plus the setback.
outside of being in center of your property and it has to be about 5 acres, you're saying it affects the setback but there's no variance in the code that says that, okay, there's nothing that says you as the administrator say, okay, we won't give you the red line. But you need to understand you are not within compliance of the setbacks and it's only for vehicular traffic. There's
Yeah,
no,
we can't do
you can't. do
We're
any of
not
that.
allowed to create nonconformities. If they already exist, that's one thing, but we're not allowed to expand them and we are not allowed to create them.
One of the things as an administrative matter that we're trying to alleviate is any subjectivity, which has caused, is my editorial opinion, many of the issues that we're working on now, where we have
So I've
arbitrary,
seen it 5 times in the last 4 years.
yeah, arbitrarily assigned, as Mr. Luther will know, arbitrarily assigned a setback to a driveway 3 different ways because the code didn't address it. But technically, the answer is when the code doesn't address it, it doesn't exist.
That's right.
And that's really the paradigm we're trying to embrace, is that we need the code to be right so that we can fairly administer the regulations.
Oh,
So
listen,
you have
let
a
me-
fix, right?
Oh, yes, we're just showing you the problems. We have solutions too.
Yeah, I think like there's something missing in the lead up to the problems. I got it now, though. It's a big problem.
Well, I think they watched Perry Mason twice. And no, I think the issue here is that you. So I'm just gonna hold that. Walk me through the presentation. then.
Let's go to
You
the
you
next.
may eliminate our questions by showing us.
So we have
what
4 more examples.
Can you go back one more down? You know, maybe I'm just missing something here, but I'm a believer in the KISS theory, and why not just extend the red line across A and simplify public safety getting in and out to get to all of these damn lots?
Are you talking about
Well,
to
public
include the red line to
Extend it
do B?
where?
For
to
what
B?
reason? Because
I'm
that's
assuming.
where he's trying to get to A, he's there, and this is B. So
No,
they're
you're
already there.
saying, why don't you add B to it? Because you can't have a private road with 8.
Well, they
Today,
blocked them.
Mr. Yancey, today, you can't do that. Our proposal, you will be able to do. That.
Okay.
Yes. We're after the same. thing.
Okay, all right. All right.
So the next example, Eric is going to walk you through. And it's only more.
Mr. Chairman,
It's just a different complication.
That's
Eric Bittner, planner. Before y'all is an illustration of a discussion that we have on a fairly regular basis with various citizens throughout the county. In this illustration, there is a state road with 2 private roads running off of it. On the first private road here that ends in a cul-de-sac, there are a number of lots, with lot D wanting to access this private road to get to his landlocked parcel. Lot L is willing to give him an easement. However, by doing so, he will be going over the allowed portion of the private road. And thus, this road will have to be upgraded to VDOT standard and accepted as a VDOT road. However, 3 of the lots on there, lot K, F, and A, are not actually using this private road at all. They're using the one to the right. However, they would still have to be on this RMA due to the fact that they are, by our definition, served. So alternatively, lot D, so he doesn't have to bring this road up to VDOT standards and get all of these lots to agree to give up part of their property for it to become a state dedicated road. He has convinced lot C to give him an easement to create a driveway that extends past the private road to his property. We'll be putting forward a solution which would allow lot K, lot F, and lot A to be considered served only by the road that they're getting accessed from to the right and not the road that lot D wants to access.
Which would make sense.
The next exhibit we have, this is a plat that staff reviewed several weeks back. This currently is 1 lot. However, the request was to subdivide it into 3 more for a total of 4 lots. All of the lots would be accessed off of Magnolia Road here. As Magnolia Place is a private road that they are not present on the RMA from, and they don't currently gain access from it. However, lots 2, 3, and 4 are still considered served by Magnolia Place. So they would have to upgrade Magnolia Place and then also join onto the RMA, which the existing landowners who hold the RMA do not want to grant them access to.
So just go back. This subdivision didn't happen because of the owner's requirements. That we just have. These people are not subdivided. So these are real cases that have real implications, real families.
The next exhibit we have, this is another current case that staff is working on. There's an undeveloped right of way in this subdivision area. The subdivision itself never occurred, and the developer instead sold off the subdivided lots. The owner of 13 also owns lot 26 and wants to sell it and develop it. To do that, he needs to give himself gain access. So he wants to put an easement through 13 to serve 26. However, by doing that and running it along his property line here, he would also be inadvertently serving 25 and 14 per our current definition. So instead, he has to move it off of his property line by a number of feet, which effectively cuts off even more than he would necessarily need to grant an easement, and then also creates some difficulty for surveyors in that they typically would use the property line as an anchor to illustrate where the easement is. Instead, they have to use a different form. And then this exhibit here, the owner of this lot here wants to subdivide into 3 more lots. You have a private road that they have with no RMA in place here, which currently provides access, I should say, to these lots. Now, they're currently in compliance with our private road standards. However, by subdividing and adding those lots, they would have to upgrade this road to become VDOT accepted, because this lot here, I put that in green for y'all, and this lot here are considered served by that private road. Again, despite the fact that they do not use it for access, but simply by the fact that that road merely touches them. So as a result, they're not able to subdivide unless they upgrade this entire stretch of road and get these 2 lots to join onto an RMA for a road that they will not be using. As such, this application also did not go forward. So those are situations. We do have a number of proposals to address those issues, which David Smith will present.
So again, we're only addressing this evening these 2 items. There are more. But we didn't want your heads to explode all at one time. We're going to do it piece by piece next month. But we have developed, with Eric Lansing's considerable assistance, 2 proposed definitions to present to the Board of Supervisors at their work session on Tuesday. And in the highlight is the change to the served definition. Critical to that definition is defining the access must be legal access. Just because you touch something doesn't mean you have the right to use it. So by stating that this access is something that it has authority, we're able to extend or I should say, reduce the number of lots that are presently considered served. Because currently, if you touch it, you're served. In our new definition, you must have legal access to it to be served. So that's generally the change in this definition. And then the other definition, we're proposing to eliminate the word driveway. We've done something inadvertently locally in 2018 when we created the driveway. We confused what we all think is a driveway with a private road, a limited private road, but a private road regardless. So we are instead going to call this, or proposing to call it, a 2-lot road, which we are also proposing to reduce the width of that easement down to as little as 20 feet. It's currently preferred at 50, which is, again, another onerous restriction on our citizens because they're taking up land they don't need. And then it also increases the setback from that driveway, which increases their unbuildable property. I should say the intent of all this is to make it, 1, better for public safety, but 2, more reasonable for our citizens' use, our code, that is. The big change here is that if any lot that's next to a 2-lot road is also on a private road, they are considered served by the private road and not the 2-lane road, which alleviates the example that Kira gave you initially. So that's the technical way that Mr. Lansing has proposed to solve.
Which is kind of what
issue.
we were saying. It
Correct.
seems a little bit, just go ahead and do this, and that
Correct.
eliminates it. I mean, so you kind of got to where we are. But we struggle with this driveway thing for a couple of years now. And I'm just trying to count. It seems like about 4 planners through
It's still
figure
an
out
issue.
what this driveway is here. I mean, I'm not being facetious here. It seems like I've heard 4 different planners and planning directors tell me what a road, what a piece of property is going to a house is.
What-
I've seen it go from road to driveway back to access easement. Now we're at a 2-lot road. I mean, next, I guess we call it chicken trot. But-
It would be a lot simpler.
I'm just a little bit lost here. What does it matter whether we leave it as driveway and we come right down here and say to mean a 2-lot road?
Well, we are redefining something that all of America considers one thing. And we are now calling a driveway something that no one except Orange County calls a driveway. So it runs into just common conversation with regular people, explaining what a driveway is and explain to them that it's not really a driveway, that it's not really what takes them to their garage, that it's not really where they park, that it's really a private road. And it's a conversation that we can eliminate and make it easier on our citizens to understand and easier to administer by calling it what it is, which is a private road. It's a
Yeah, but
two.
Dave, and I don't mean to be argumentative, but just help me here. There ain't a citizen in Orange County, not even including these you're talking to up here, that would have called anything going to their house 2-lot road. So when you talk about, we don't know what we're
Exactly.
calling it, we're not gonna be, I mean, nobody's gonna say, and by the way, I want to build a house and make sure my 2-lot road meets. They're not gonna do
You are
that.
perfectly right, because a 2-lot road or a driveway in Orange County does not access your house. That is the point. A driveway in Orange County does not access your house. It gives you access to another lot. That is the argument, or not argument. That is the juxtaposition that we're fighting with, is we all believe a driveway is what takes you to your house, but in Orange County, a driveway takes you to another lot. That's what we're trying to get around. And we think it's more apt to call it a road, because that is what's traversing over someone else's lot to get to your lot. It's not taking you to your driveway, it's not taking you to your garage. It's taking you to another lot. And that is the conversation. That argument, Mr. Chairman, you just perfectly laid out is what we're wrestling.
So what do you call a driveway?
What takes me into my garage?
And you're saying none of those in Orange County, no pieces of property take you to your garage?
No, I'm not discussing property. I'm talking about
Well, I'm just
the
using
travel
property as
way.
in, because I don't want to call it road, I don't want to call, so I'm saying no land takes you to your, I'm just kind of,
That red line is a driveway. It's not taking you inside inside your garage. It's not taking you to currently. That's a
That
driveway.
red line
It's
is
a driveway. It's not taking you to your house. It's not taking you to your carport. It's not taking you to your parking space. It's taking you to a lot. So
Now-
we think,
Now, what people do, and I think this is where if you go back to the two lots, the 26 and 13. Next one, right there. So if you add a whatever we're gonna call it, in the future, it's gonna be a 2-lot road, right?
yes, the yellow would be a 2-lot road.
Right
And
now,
what-
it's called a driveway. If we kept with the existing code, that yellow line would be a driveway, but it really gives access from 26 out to Gordon Avenue there.
Yeah. In our new world, which Mr. Brooks just articulated, the 2 red lines I just drew are the driveways. But currently, those red lines that take you to your house from this yellow line, that is not a driveway.
I think the
Orange
chairman,
County.
and I will say this, I think I get your point, because what in practice will happen is on lot 26, the red and the yellow will become one, right?
right.
So I will come out of my garage on the red and tie into the yellow at the property line. So, but so I understand what you're
So
saying.
in our new
That's what I
ordinance,
hear you
this
saying.
yellow line can extend all the way to the end and grant access to another lot because this one, 13, will be considered served here.
And I guess I'm also saying for a person who's trying to look up the ordinances and may put in the keyword driveway, what does my driveway have to be? And if that's removed, and they're not, or I'm just looking for access for the common citizen. I get your analogy.
We will remove the word driveway from the code. They won't find anything because we don't regulate driveways. We have no interest in what you do on your property to access your carport. We have no interest. So we will remove that word because we're having this conversation now. It's so complicated.
Can you go to the language again of the changing driveway to 2-lot road? Let me just ask this question, make sure I understand it. A 2-lot road will always be a private road.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Always.
So it will never be anything except a private road. That to me, and I know we say it down here, it says any lot which is served by a 2-lot road onto a private road shall be considered served by said private road. So there could be a 2-lot road that goes to a private road, right?
Absolutely.
Like in the red
Yes, sir.
situation. I don't know the answer to this, so I'm just saying it seems to me that it may be confusing if we put it in here. So that's why I'm just going to say it, but I don't know if I think we ought to change it or state it as such. But do we need to say 2-lot, put the word private in front of 2-lot road? Because it's nothing but that. And the only reason I say that is I think a lot of people think of roads as, they don't think of them as private roads. They think of them a road. They think of, a state highway or, a public.
Common man thinks
a
road is an access way.
Right. And I think this is, and maybe you could, let me just see here.
And we could go as far as just calling it 2-lot access. I can
Well,
call it
I
a
would
road.
say,
That may be even better.
I would say
Take
that
the
is a
road out.
travel way. You got an individual travel.
Yeah,
way,
take the
pretty
road-
sure you
word
got
road
that
out.
there. I would call it 2-lot
Sure,
travel way.
absolutely.
And if
I
you,
th-
if you
yeah.
get rid of the road and driveway, you specify and put some clarity there.
You're going exactly, because we now have road, we have vehicular travel way, we have private
And
road,
we got,
and it's all in this sort of, I have to like sort of go, all right, which, and I read it and I was like, okay, yeah, I get you want to limit, if you do have a private road and the 2-lot, whatever we call it, goes to that,
Mhm.
then that's in effect a private road, but you don't want to say a private road to a private road. So
Yeah, I like
do
2-lot
support
travel
that.
way. Yeah, it
I
makes
do
sense.
think it's a little, when you say 2-lot road, it brings up it just brings up a different sort of notion.
I think if you say 2-lot travel way, get the road out of there, it'll certainly make me happy, but you gotta make the board happy, so.
Yeah, I think those are good suggestions.
I just
And-
think
and
that
listen,
is just-
These things change, it changed today. This is
Yeah, I
a
figured
working,
that.
breathing
Yeah.
thing, and those are good comments, and we'll
What
incorporate those.
happens if those 2 lots are 20 acres apiece?
Pardon? If
If
they're
those 2
large
lots
lots?
Large lots, 20 acres.
still travel ways.
Yeah, what they're doing, and one reason that we are requesting to reduce the easement width is to ensure somebody never changes on us and tries to develop a big subdivision out of that 30 acres. So if we specify that a 2-lot travel way is only 20 feet, it restricts them from blowing it out into a
Unless
subdivision
they
later.
come back and reapply.
That's right. They would have to do a lot of work. Yeah. So it's like a
Now,
speed
in
bump.
In that administration of that, can you put that verbiage somewhere so they know so you say. in this- so-
We had that conversation and we're not sure how to do it, but that is something that's in the hopper. How do you articulate in the approval on the plat
That says,
that this shall never be made a public? road?
unless you go through the proper procedures to make it.
We don't know how to do that right now, but that's something that we're talking about.
Can't you just say hypothetically, if this happens?
Well, you can say restricted to, this is restricted to whatever the dimensions are, not to exceed at any given time unless it's going through the proper format to move the restrictions there are bound to be smart.
We
enough to come
share
up with
your
the legal-
concern.
I mean, that eliminates somebody beating the system.
Yes,
Because
sir.
they'll beat it this week, next thing you know, they got a 50-foot road in there, then what are you gonna do?
Yes, yes. Yeah, that is in the till. We're working on that.
Now, what if they wanted a bigger roadway, just because I want a wide access to go in there, just,
We would restrict it. Right now, we're proposing to restrict it to, I think I can't remember the width, 20 to 30 feet, let's say. But the purpose is to make it hard to subvert the ordinance to build a subdivision based upon a road that was never intended to serve a subdivision.
only because my travel way into my house is a double travel way that I call the driveway to let the motorhome get in and get out.
Yep.
It's just not wide enough.
And all
If I
that
did
would
a-
still be
If you had a
permitted.
20-foot road and they had a motorhome, they would struggle getting that down in there. That's the reason I asked, is it, because I'm trying to ask these questions because
The other issue,
I just don't want to see this no more.
the other issue is emergency equipment, getting fire apparatus and EMS
That's true.
through. So I believe, did we determine the minimum standards 20 or 25? 20. So their minimum to get an ambulance or fire truck through is 20 feet. So that's why we're coalescing around 20 feet. Yeah.
Okay,
I have a
so-
question. Like, I don't quite understand that. I mean, if they're going to build a subdivision, they're going to have to upgrade the road.
No. The 2-lot road is only intended for 2
No, I
lots.
understand,
Yeah.
but the right of way, the 20 feet, I mean, I don't understand why that
Well,
matters.
If you got 20 acres in one of those lots, you
Mhm.
can by right subdivide.
Yeah, if you get a
Well, believe
50,
me,
you
I
can
know
buy
that.
right
That was my
subdivision.
point.
There
Because
isn't
if
a-
you-
can buy
if you-
right subdivide.
there isn't a soul in the board that
Yeah.
wants to do anything
You
about
can,
that.
if
but-
you got a
that's not my-
26.
But that's not my question. My question is that you now have more than 2 lots.
Right.
So it can't be a 2-lot road anymore.
there would be no legal access.
For what?
If
For
they
any-
subdivide beyond, they couldn't use that road. We would.
I
not.
understand,
Uh-huh.
but that's my point. I mean, whether it's 50 or 100 feet, I mean, it doesn't matter. They're still going to have to
Correct.
come back and upgrade the road.
It's,
for the
let's call it
subdivision.
a deterrent.
No, they wouldn't.
Well,
They
you're-
wouldn't though. You may
Yeah.
open up something that makes me think different. If I have 26 acres and I'm just using this 20-foot travel way, and I'm going to give my son and my daughter, so now we're not just, because you're saying servicing the lots.
Just 2.
Yeah, as soon as you start cutting it up, you just.
It's a whole new ballgame. As soon as
Yeah,
you cut
so
it up,
that's what
everything
I'm
starts.
saying.
So I cut it up one time or twice. I'm still bigger than the service of the 2.
My point is,
So is it somewhere you can put homes in there, or you have to leave it at lot? Because you're using the term lot. Lot could be,
If you're going to subdivide, you are going to have to find legal access to your subdivision, and it cannot be via the 2-lot road. The
even if,
2-lot road is a private easement for 2 people.
so maybe I'm not understanding.
You've got to
I'm-
find
I'm
another
all the
way to get
back
in.
At my 25 acres, I'm gonna subdivide and give my son a house.
Do you have access to a public road?
Yeah, the driveway.
That's where you'll have to come off. But it won't be off the 2-lot road.
hold on. a second.
No,
Wait a minute.
It's just like this example here.
no.
But that's kind of my point. Dave.
If this is 25 acres
Right.
or however many acres, they cannot get to this. They can get to it now or in the future, they can get to that land via the 2-lot road. If they want to subdivide this into more, they got to come out here and get access.
Hang on a second, but they could upgrade that. They could come here and upgrade that 2-lot road and bring it up to whatever standard it
If-
needs.
If the people they traverse agree. Yeah.
Right. So see, this is my point. Like, I don't see you're advertising the 20-foot easement as some sort of deterrence. And I don't see that as a deterrent at all. I see it as, it doesn't matter. It could be a 50-foot. Still, you still can't do it without the permission of the other person.
Traditionally in Orange County it has been done. We could show you
Oh,
examples where it has.
believe
been
me,
done.
like,
Yeah.
I like listening to this just makes my head boil, honestly, because every house that goes up, there's a cost to everyone else in the county. And so like, believe me, all this stuff about making it easier, building houses and making people pay for it. And then, I mean, the county's asked for $2 million in the last 6 years from the state to upgrade private roads to bring them into the public system. So like, trust me, I get it. All I'm saying is you're advertising that as a deterrent. And I don't see how it's a deterrent,
Well, they have to come back through our process,
but they have to do that anyway.
plating process. They would
Right.
have to come back before you.
Regardless of whether it's
Uh-huh.
20 feet or 30 feet or
Mhm.
50 feet. I mean, they
Well,
could
the other thing I would say, we've argued this. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had all these
Well,
conversations, but if you go to 50 feet,
Well, you advertise it as a deterrent. And so there, in my mind, there is no deterrent to keep someone from subdividing a parcel. Like saying that somehow, because believe me, I will hear about this later. So
well,
saying it's 20 feet doesn't deter someone from subdividing that.
well, the
back lot.
25 foot, that's 25 lot subdivision.
Yeah.
In our ordinance will have to be public roads,
Right,
right? So they would have to come in and either build their own roads
correct.
or they would have to upgrade this road. And
Correct.
by default, I believe they would have to upgrade this
Yes,
road
they
too.
would.
Yes, but
So
so it's immaterial how wide that is. It's still, none
I
of that
fo-
fits into the.
I follow your argument.
Yeah.
However, and listen, we can just leave it
Well,
buyer beware. If they want 100-foot easement there, they just completely ruin the buildable area of an
but
average lot.
that's
Yeah,
their-
yeah.
you know, I
Again,
kind of
yeah.
feel like I'm just, the only thing that, like you're saying, that's a deterrent. And so I'm like, that's not a deterrent. That's all I'm saying.
We'll take that under advisement. We'll
I
see
don't
if we
see that
can
as a
flesh
deterrent.
that out a little more.
Because no matter what, whether it's 20 feet, 50, even if they had 100 feet, they still can't use it without coming back to the.
But yet somehow they do.
Well,
I share your frustration.
I mean, like we have a comp plan that says 2% growth. And then we have policies that just blow that out of the water and, hey, whatever. We're all supposed to be small government, low tax people, but we're really not.
Sounds
Well, the
like
policy-
America.
Sorry.
The policy goes against that
It's just, yeah.
in many ways. And I think frankly, this is one of the issues we had when we were dealing with the private road issue.
Yes.
I mean, we're trying to fix, 100 problems that were created before I got here anyway. And I wasn't happy at all with the private road
No.
discussion that we had that we forwarded on, if you recall. I thought it had, all kinds of unintended consequences. In fact, I think I may have used that
Yeah.
word in my public
Well,
comment.
there
at
are
the
more.
time.
And there's also, and these are some of the other issues. Well, I'm not going in detail about this. I'll spare you. But one of the conversations we're going to have with the board on Tuesday is, do we have what I understand, talking to you and talking to others and the board, listening to the Board of Supervisors, is we are as frustrated with the maintenance of private roads, at least as frustrated with the maintenance of private roads as we are the construction standard. So one of the things that is on the docket to discuss Tuesday is, do you have minimum maintenance standards of these
Great question.
private roads?
Yeah.
So that is on our list of things to discuss.
Yeah.
We also have the lot orientation issue that we have some proposals for. Mr. Yancey was right. There are implications to the pipe stem. We're not eliminating the pipe stem in any way, but we have extreme vagueness of where's the setback, of where's the front. There are issues with pipe stems that are not well identified in our ordinance that we're going to propose. The associated setbacks to a 2-lot road. Presently, it's 35, well, not. If we administered the ordinance as written now with a 2-lot road, you would have a setback of up to 85 feet. And I don't think that's the intention of this private two-lot travelway. is to have someone set back 85 feet. But right now, the ordinance would require that. So we want a more reasonable setback. And just to blow your mind a little more, the present setback in our code today for a driveway is 0 feet, which means you can put your house up against a 2-lane travelway on it, share a line with your building line. So we need to understand the definition, the appropriate definition for setback from a 2-lane travelway. And then finally, and Eric has really done some heavy lifting on this, that subverting of your ordinance, the going out of the way to get around the rules is what we are trying to deter. And one way we're not only trying to deter it, we're trying to find better mechanisms to encourage the appropriate way to subdivide land. Here's a super example of the unintended consequence and subversion of our ordinance by the driveway. This is a lot that was originally this larger area that could have pulled off. Let me see if I can, here we go. Could have pulled off here and done a horseshoe road and accessed all these lots. But because we have the driveway provision, they blew in 4 driveways to get to the back, and we're stacking lots. We're not solving anything. We're creating new problems based upon our ordinance. And our ordinance perfectly allows this as present, but it's not good planning. It could have been easily, I wouldn't say easily. I'm not in a position to say that.
It could have been one. You wouldn't even, you could have a cul-de-sac at the end.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to have 2.
But this is the result of our driveway provisions. So anyway,
Mr. Chairman, I have one more for David. Can I?
David, Mr. Capel has one more for you, but I want you to put that example back up because I hadn't finished seeing it. Y'all can go ahead.
In the one ordinance, the correction, you have the word opinion. It was the,
Where's the opinion of the zoning administrator?
administrator. There's probably some different word that you can use.
yeah,
there.
trust me, we don't enjoy that discretion.
Yeah, I think someone.
Where was that? Was that in served or in?
Second definition. First definition. Yes, served. Yeah, in the opinion of the, you could say, there's something else you could use you could say like, yeah,
Yeah.
as interpreted by the
I think
subdivision
that's
agent.
better. It's still not
That's what-
great, but it's better.
It's better than opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, opinion's just,
Thank you. That's a great comment.
that's really.
Can I have my lots back again?
Is it, let me just ask, is it a determination that you make?
I agree. I think that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
As
mean,
opposed to an opinion.
zoning
It's not
administrator-
opinion. You either
What am I
make it,
saying is wrong
You could
about
say
that?
as determined by
right,
the
it's
subdivision.
a
agent.
determination.
I
Yeah,
like that.
that's good too.
And that is the official opinion of the administrator is a
Right, yeah.
determination.
So David, walk me through what the erroneousness of this plan.
So you see the,
You have 4 driveways on the road.
oh, I'm terrible with this. I need Eric to come up here and drive. Oh my gosh.
That
I'm
was
really
just
bad.
rhetorical.
There's
The
one,
issue for me is.
there's one, there's one,
Right.
and there's one. And that's how these lots gain access. So we're stacking lots, which I think you'll all agree is not what we enjoy seeing. It's not good administration of
And that
the
was actually
resource.
16 acres at the beginning, or a little bit more probably with the points. 20-acre lot subdivision or thereabout.
We don't have anything in our subdivision ordinance about when you subdivide lots, how many entryways you can create onto a public road.
Generally, that's regulated by VDOT. Do we address that at all?
I thought it was in our subdivision. No?
It was removed. That's right. We talked
And
about
this
that.
is a low volume road, so does the
Wait a minute,
volume of the
wait
road
We-
determine what you do?
The volume,
Because this is a low volume road.
yes, from VDOT, volume is part of how they would consider Blue Run, access to Blue Run Road. Yes.
When you said we removed it, like what?
When was that done? Has it been since you've been here,
It's
Tracy?
been since I've been here. There was a question about the distance from driveway to driveway. And the county's code was more restrictive than the VDOT code. So we backed it down. Now, I cannot tell
Was
you
that done,
when
must
that
have been done at
happened,
the
but
board. Yeah, well,
this was,
And I think Eric said on that, that we can only be more restrictive in some situations, but we put ourselves at legal risk if we put ourselves more restricted in most situations. You can restrict more than the state, but you really got to watch it because, and they try to be risk averse. So that's where it is. I got that. I want to take you back to one thing. So I want to go back to 2-lot road. I want you to talk to me about the first lot. I'm just going to say it's A, the second lot is B.
Mhm.
We're restricting them to, let's say, our 20 feet that we've got there. What if those lots can be subdivided by family parcels? Are you then allowing them a variance away from the public roadway? Or are you gonna let them, I'm talking big,
So family subdivisions are a separate, totally separate
I
provision
understand.
and will remain a
understand.
separate provision. They can have private roads with no standard,
Right,
pig path, up to 7. Is that right? I think it's 7. With no road standards. So the new STA
you
will
could run-
reduce standard.
you can run 28 family subdivision lots down through a roadway. 28 you could run, but if you're not Ken, you can't run 3.
You can only do
Wow,
two. I guess.
wow.
so
I go back to something that I've believed in for a long time, and coming from working in the finance business. If we're so much into preservation of green space and farmland, why are we doing this from a standpoint? Why not just, go for cluster development and not waste the damn land? Excuse my French.
Excellent observation.
we'd have to have a by right. You'd have to make cluster more attractive than just splitting your land into 2 acres and doing whatever.
Well, again,
Just saying.
I'm like this, I like green space. That's one reason I think a lot of us are here.
Yeah.
But, what we're practicing is contrary to that.
Well, but seriously, Mr. Mincy, like right now, why would anyone do cluster development? I mean, you can do cluster development, it's in our ordinance. But why would you do that when you can just split 2 acres willy-nilly and you don't have to worry about it? Now, if you're joining my club, Mr. Yancey, we can talk about it. Because this drives me bad.
I've got a 6.15 acre lot.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna sell my house, do I just divide it and get 2 more lots out of
You
it?
could. I mean, you can. I mean, that's the way it's written
It's
right
done
now.
daily.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's insane.
I love my neighbor, but I don't love him that much.
And there's concert.
How many times, how many lots can they get out of this?
Yeah.
They ask us that all the time.
Yeah, and there's real consequences to it. Like you are burdening the citizens with taxes in perpetuity forever. And like we don't care. And then I got to sit here and listen to how conservative we are and like, how much we're in favor of low taxes and how much we're in favor of small government. And almost every single person like that to the T doesn't want any restrictions on any of this stuff. It's like, well, so what do you want? Because you can't have both. So, and what they want and what I believe, because most people don't have the means or the land, what they want is to make money off their land and extract the wealth out of the county and strap the citizens for the rest of their lives and their children's lives and anyone else who comes here with the burden of paying for all the services. And it only gets worse over time because as more people come here, they want more services, they want better roads, they want more police. And
But
you
less
can-
taxes,
Huh?
but less taxes.
Right. But go look around, like go look at every developed county, like every one of them has higher taxes. Spotsylvania, I just went through this drill, someone at a party was yelling about our personal property taxes. Go look at Spotsylvania's personal property taxes. I mean, it drives me nuts, Mr. Yancey. You know, it really does, because I'm the wacky liberal up here, apparently. So I'm the one actually arguing for low taxes.
Now,
So,
Mr.
whatever.
Bell, let me share something with you.
go ahead.
I'll stick with wacky. The other word I'll leave you alone with.
I'm just saying, you know, it's like, well, you drive a Prius, you're a liberal.
Well,
Well,
here-
when did saving fuel become a liberal value? I'm trying to figure this out. You know, it's like, it's bizarro land.
It's just, it is.
It's bizarro
It is
land.
cumbersome to say the least. I think the frustration you're sensing, Mr. Smitherman, is that we have seen this as a commission several times. We've had citizens come in and really act cumbered and a little bit rude and disenchanted over this type of thing. So I guess our hopes is we get it right. And that's why you got battered a little bit. And I apologize for the battering, but I assume that the county has paid you well for the battering. If not, I'll tell you that I'm sorry.
Well, this is hardly a battering. You know,
Yeah,
I think it's, I mean, you got to make
you
it.
gotta go, and I will say to you and your staff, you've done a good job of trying to make it better, but it's frustrating. And how I personally look at things is that if I'm a citizen and I look at a PDF and I search for a word, because I want to know how big my driveway, what's the size of my driveway, I'd put in driveway. I wouldn't put in two-lot road. And so that's why I asked what I asked, and from that perspective. And Mr. Capella is not on that island by himself I just don't know what we're after. I really just, I hope we get there. But I'm
What
really
we're
not sure what
after-
because I hear people yelling and screaming and they come and they be attentive. Just what are they after? What are you? And I've asked a citizen who wanted to blast me today, but I was busy and I listened to half of the blasting and let rest of it go. You write it. You write it, give it to me. I'll take it in there and say, what does this look like? And see if you can pass the legal muster, because somehow everybody believes it's real easy. It's not. And there is a fairness punch in it, and citizens have to understand, whether they know it or not, that there's some legal things that we have to stay within confines of before we make decisions. So I appreciate I appreciate you grabbing this.
well, what we're after.
What I would say though, I was gonna say this, I'm in hopes you're all gonna have a public hearing on this.
Oh, yes, sir. Let me
And
tell
I'm
you
in
about.
hopes that you will get this information out early enough so those who are truly vested in trying to figure it out will get the information early enough. Because one of the things we got accused of, we did it in a vacuum, we didn't, but they said we did. I went back and researched, we didn't. But I
Will
get
this
it.
be
So
heard on the
let's-
10th?
So let's talk about where we go from here. First of all, what we're after is eliminating conflicts in the code, which are numerous, and we are after satisfying the Board of Supervisors intent. So that's our goal.
Okay.
Our process
Good luck.
is to present to the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday. My personal opinion is we're not going to be able to move the football very far on Tuesday. But regardless, these things have to come back before this body for a recommendation and public hearing before any of these things happen. So it will be well advertised. I think it will probably be deliberated more than you care to deliberate. And it will all be done in open session And I anticipate that it'll take several months for all these things to make it through the process and become code.
I have a question. May I ask a question?
Mhm.
You said supervisor's intent. What is the supervisor's?
Well,
intent?
I think that's the purpose of Tuesday's meeting, is
Find
for us
out.
all to get on the same pages. What is, I'll give you another unintended consequence. I don't think any of us realize, and I'd say us as in the county, realize that you could never build another Lake of the Woods subdivision in Orange County. You could not have an upscale gated community in Orange County in our current code. That is one of the unintended consequences that the Board of Supervisors wants to flesh out to determine what is the intent with regard to private development. And the unintended consequence of the 2018 amendments was that there were no private roads of any kind allowed in Orange County.
So Lake of the Woods, they're all private roads?
Yes, sir.
I see. Yeah. Well, just for the record, I've never had an issue with private roads. I've had an issue with private roads that weren't built to standards.
Yes,
that
sir.
They could be made public if that was what was needed down the road. So I personally don't have an issue. My issue is almost always standards. Like a lot of times, and I don't think this is the case with Lake of Woods, private road is used as an excuse to build a substandard road. And eventually people move there and they have to deal with it. And it causes, I mean, I know communities here where the neighbors won't even talk to one another because of the roads in their community and having to deal with it and how their HOA works and how the roads are falling apart, not maintained. And it causes a tremendous amount of strife in the community. I mean, so.
And having a standard for maintenance of those private roads is one of the things we're trying, going to hopefully determine Tuesday as what is the intent of the Board of Supervisors? Is it just get this thing constructed right? Or is it also to maintain this thing correctly?
Yeah, no, I think.
And
that's
so we'll
good.
be talking about that Tuesday also.
No, that's good.
All right, so we're gonna wrap
Thank you.
this up a little bit for the sake of moving along. Mr. Smith, and thank you so much for your information. Commissioners, be prepared. That's the best advice I can give you. Just be prepared.
Doesn't
It's
really
coming.
matter what we do.
Is there any new business? Any old business? Thank you too also for helping. Mr. Johnson is not here. Mr. Smith, you got any more reports for us?
I think you've seen what we've been working on the last while, so I'll let it
I
lay
think you've
there.
been busy. I think you've been busy. Commissioner comments, starting with Mr. Yancey,
No, sir.
Mr. Nichol,
Nothing.
Mr. Capel.
Just thanks for tackling these issues. I know, like trying to administer and through different planners. I mean, and then you have people from the public who you have the planner this day and they interpret it this way, and the next day it's interpreted a different way. So thanks for tackling it. I know it's not easy working through all the details. So if you, I mean, I'll look at those, if you present those, I mean, I can look at those slides if you like
Sure, sure.
and try to, because what you presented the first couple slides,
So
I just wasn't.
What you didn't have privy to
Yeah.
is Eric Lansing's. I hate he wasn't here to help me tonight because a lot of this is his work.
Okay,
But what you didn't have privilege to see, not on intent, but because it was just really wonky inside baseball, is Eric's 9-page memo to us
Oh.
about his reasoning behind, and our collective reasoning behind all these changes.
Yeah.
So I think based upon your comments tonight, Jason, we need to clean that up and make it suitable for public consumption and lead with that in advance with the Board of Supervisors and copy you on that document to start bringing you in the loop.
yeah, the burning platform wasn't like quite, it was like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
So to follow up behind Mr. Capel, I would say again, thank you for what you did. From my perspective as chair and being on the commission probably a little bit longer than most, I'm wrestling with every different planning director's interpretation, opinion slash of what those words actually meant. Every planning assistant that's there. So it's a wrestle from turning away from what I've been told these things say and mean to what now you're saying these things say and mean. I'm also wrestling with, are we being pushed by the real? So let me just say this. Is it the board's work to really get the work done? Or is there some outside influences that's saying, I don't like what it says, so I want to do what I want to do. And let me jump up here and just scream and holler and don't answer that. I'm just talking. These are my comments. So.
It's a rhetorical question.
But the answer is always the same.
Yeah, I mean, so with that said, I mean, again, it's hard. It's truly hard. If your presentation said we did it in 18, we'll keep following it.
Yeah.
We've done it all the way up to 22 now.
Yeah.
So it's the last 4 years of it. And at some point, I cannot believe that the incompetence was great to the point that we couldn't catch it. I think of what we do a lot of times is we don't look at what's the conflicts that come up in the code. Because somebody comes in with their little block of cheese and we eat off it. But they don't realize that, there's something behind it. There's a lot of conflicts in our code, and I'm glad y'all sorting them out and made it feel better. My comment to you and staff is that if the commission struggles with what you're trying to give, the citizens are lost. They're lost. And it's important to remember that in your work, not that you don't. Again, that's my comments. And this is what causes things. And you know what I found about laws and regulation, and I fooled around the laws for 29 years, 6 months, 8 hours and 12 minutes. People learn to conform themselves to whatever standards you set. So if we're gonna just move every time somebody barks, we'll constantly move. We'll constantly move. And I'm not saying we should move and fix some irregularities. But I am saying that I see a lot of issues, because it goes deeper than this. We need to get, and Mr. Capel, to his credit, has been saying for years, ever since he got on this board, that we got issues in this corner. Now, but we're just pulling out one little plug to fix the issue. And
So to that point, this whole exercise started only around served.
Right.
And it cascaded and cascaded. And maybe in the past, we would have just fixed served and not considered the cascade. But I'll tell you, and this is editorial, and they'll run me out of here tomorrow if they want. I don't know that you've ever had 3 professional planners, a professional director, and a professional attorney all working together to make sure these things get fixed.
I don't
And so
know.
your
I don't
staffing
know.
level
I think
is really good.
that is the plus. That is the plus. And again, I said, I think I've been through 6 different, maybe 7 different planners.
I would
since I've
argue
been
that's
here.
the biggest problem.
And it is,
It's
because it's inconsistent. If I'm struggling with, because it all comes down to what that word we want to take out, opinion, and turn it to interpretation. It's the opinion of the planner. And he comes in here and tells me, I look at you all as experts, because you all ought to be.
And I've issued 2 zoning administrators determinations. And what we're trying to do is not just say, this is what I determined, but provide the reasoning and document the reasoning, publish the reasoning, and make it available to the public. This week, I issued a determination around driveway setbacks. It will be on our website. Hopefully, is that on the website yet? Tomorrow. So, we're trying to be transparent, and we're trying to document, and we're trying to publish the things we do so that we can eliminate the subjectivity and confusion around the administration of code.
Well, the clarity and the expertise of the work is showing through you and staff. That's impressive. I will say that. But the frustrating part is that here we are again.
I'm sure.
That's just the frustrating part.
I get it.
Maybe we should.
Here we
be
go
here.
again.
Maybe we ought to be here, but we are here again.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at. But I thank you for your work. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank staff for what they do. Thank the public for coming in and paying attention. If nothing else has our attention, I solicit a motion to adjourn.
Move adjournment.
All in
Second.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carried. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.